You may be a skeptic, but if you had to choose a place with all the makings of a haunting, it would probably be a hospital. After all, hospitals are the setting in which many souls depart this earth and enter the afterlife, whatever that may be, but sometimes it seems they stay. Published to YouTube in February of 2020, this clip is part of a series of clips entitled The Haunted Hospital Case. The footage shows a hospital that appears to be empty. A trash can stands in the corner and its lid starts to flip repeatedly. The lid doesn't appear to be mechanical, so who or what is causing it to rotate? But it's not just the lid, watch beyond. A paranormal figure jogs past. The figure seems to be in the shape of a young girl, however she is entirely cast in shadow, apart from a small blip of white sneakers. Do you think this might be one of the aforementioned souls? If so, where is she running off to? Or what is she running from? When a YouTuber named Side Dreams hears that a clown is nearby, he and his friend decide to jump in the car and track it down. They think they see something in the cornfield and pull over to investigate. Out of the car, they are ambushed from behind.
Get in here! What the f***? Go, 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 go!
Oh my god!
Go, go! Holy oh my god!
Someone rushes out to them wearing a bright orange wig and holding some sort of pole or even a spear. What's really crazy is that it seems to be able to keep up with the car for much longer than any human being should be able to. This person is either full of adrenaline or not of this world. A YouTuber named 11 Makeda and their friends are camping in the backyard when they completely lose control of their bonfire. First, they try to put out the blaze with a simple garden hose. When that doesn't work, they try to smother the fire with dirt using shovels. Meanwhile, the flames grow taller and hotter as the fire spreads outwards, threatening to reach a house that's only a short distance away. Also, if it reaches the cornfield behind them, then the fire could quickly cover acres of land. The short 5-minute video ends before we get a chance to see what happens next. Hopefully they did the right thing and called for firefighters to put an end to the backyard inferno. Otherwise, if they were too afraid of getting in trouble and continued to try and contain it themselves, then it might very have cost somebody their home. A YouTuber named Godiva calls this a bizarre sighting caught on camera, and he's definitely right. The slow-moving shadow figure grows larger as it extends over this house. It's all caught on their home CCTV system, and it's a creepy moment for sure, but tell me if it's a formless shadow person or some sort of insect. Two things that you should never mess with: a Ouija board and the spirit world. Posted by Big Rig Jiggin to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Big Rig claims that when he leaves this Ouija board out on the table, something strange happens. According to Big Rig, this video has been time edited due to it taking over 70 hours to get this footage. I tried to sit and watch for the movement so I could record. The only times it was happening is when I left the room and came back hours later. Big Rig leaves a Ouija board on the table with the planchette sitting at the top pointing downward. He passes his hand over the table and around the planchette, assumedly to show there are no strings attached. Then he leaves the room. The planchette sits still for a long while, but after a time, it starts moving around the board. It appears to slide all across the board, moving around of its own accord. The movement is also shown at a different angle. As you can see, the desk is thick, so magnets are likely at play here. NitroFox0 states in the comments that leaving the planchette on the board is a big no-no, and the fact that it's trying to leave the board means the spirit is trying to escape. Never really thought of that. Now this unexplainable Ouija board activity seems even creepier. Real Victoria is woken up by her cat hissing at something it sees in the bedroom window. The cat goes quiet when she starts recording, but it's definitely focused on some activity outside. She says this creepy looking character was looking in through her window, and he very well may have been, but at 4 seconds he also seems to be looking up and trying to get the attention of someone in the room above him. In fact, I think I hear him shout something and whistle loudly at the beginning of this video. What is he saying here? Eventually, he steps away and out of sight. I guess he either saw the camera, or he finally got the attention of someone in the unit above. Whatever he was up to, having a complete stranger anywhere near where you live at 5 in the morning is oddly terrifying. With that said, I do believe her, and I hope real Victoria stays safe until her lease is up and she can get out of there. It's 3 a.m. when a YouTuber named Spencer Smith goes exploring an abandoned mental asylum that looks haunted as can be. Most of the entrances have been sealed off and it seems like their paranormal investigation is over before it even has a chance to go wrong. But that's when they hear scary noises in the darkness.
That was not a dog. That is not a dog, listen. That's not a dog. Well, we're savages, let's go. Mate. Oh no, bro, oh my god.
I don't have the slightest clue what that animal could be, but I don't think it was a dog, so maybe it is supernatural. Anyway, they eventually find a doorway that's in complete shambles. Before they get a chance to step through, the camera goes out of focus for a few scary moments before they hear what I agree sounds like a footstep going up the nearby stairs. Stairs which clearly nobody is standing on.
Was that a footstep there? Was that an actual footstep?
They step through the doorway and are too busy investigating from room to room to realize they've already caught a ghost face in the window. At 12 minutes and 37 seconds, it's a scary face looking down and to the right. More of a demon sighting caught on tape than a ghost face in the window. They only see one apparition during this moment, but I actually see two. The other is a man peering in through the bottom left corner of the window. You can see his facial features most clearly during this moment, in which you can make out a sharp nose, thin lips, and no visible eyes. They record the rest of the asylum without much incident, and soon find themselves standing at a different entrance than the one they came through. They look down and notice they've almost fallen into a hole that leads into a drainage system, and as they laugh, something scary happens in return.
We'll go through that instead.
It's hard to hear at first, but it seems they've actually caught another unexplained footstep on camera shortly before they ran away, this time coming from within the drain. A YouTuber named Gaurav Zone is examining a notoriously haunted road in New Delhi, India. They idle their car and wait in darkness for a while to see what happens next. I was starting to think the video could be fake until I noticed one part in particular. What appears to be two yellowish eyes briefly stare at them before disappearing. I was thinking that this could just be a reflection of the car's brake lights, but if that was the case, then the light should be red, not yellow. I also don't know what would catch the light's reflection, since they are on a desolate road in the middle of nowhere. The strange eyes, if that's what they were, disappear and never return, not even when the cameraman zooms in for a closer look. A peaceful day at work doesn't seem to be in the cards for anyone on this list. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Tristy and Joshua, the Redditor writes, "So this happened at my work a couple months back. In the video, a man is working at his desk around the corner from some file cabinets and other stuff stored against the wall. As he's sitting there working, oblivious to what's going on around the corner, a whiteboard does a full 180, twirling around to land upright, leaning against the opposite wall. What is going on here? Well, some say it could have been the wind. As it appears, there's an exit door that may have led to drafts in. Others think the paranormal had a hand in this." Redditor BoyMom119816 writes, "I think lots just want you to know that they're there." He goes on to explain that his mother-in-law has some child ghosts haunting her, and they often throw and move things, while footsteps and other noises can be heard around the home. Others in the thread agree, saying sometimes it gets scary when things escalate. Is this what's going on here? Do the ghosts of this building just want to play around with their colleagues and let them know they're there? While the uploader says wind is the only thing that makes sense, the movement of the whiteboard seems odd for wind. It would make more sense for the wind to simply knock it over from where it was propped against the wall than for it to do a pirouette across the hallway and land perfectly on the other side. The Redditor himself said the object was a whiteboard. Others think that the object appears to be something of a less substance, like an empty packing box or styrofoam, which would make it more reasonable for it to move this way from a gust of wind. Redditor Sobriquet negates the wind theory, asking that if wind was strong enough to propel something around like that in the hallway, why didn't it move anything else? Not even the blue bag outside the open door. Nothing else in the hallway moves at all. Wind or a mischievous ghost? What do you... A child is quietly doing homework at the living room coffee table, but something in the room doesn't want to keep the peace. This creepy clip was published by Adit and Anika in May of 2021. According to the video's timestamp, the footage was originally captured nearly 2 decades ago at around 1:40 p.m. on April 13th, 2001. A child is writing, a cupboard door on the entertainment center flies open. The little girl doesn't seem too rattled by it. Perhaps she is used to strange poltergeist activity in her home. She walks calmly over to shut it and sits back down to her homework, but the energy in the room isn't done harassing her. 2 of the doors pop open simultaneously. One of them closes on its own, while the girl closes the other. Again, she doesn't appear surprised by the incident, and studiously heads back over to return to her work. That's when the poltergeist decides to shock her once and for all. The coffee table moves on its own, rolling across the floor. At this, the girl screams and races out of the room. For the ghost, mission accomplished. At least she'll have a real excuse for not finishing her homework. If you're looking for a haunted location, your best bet is to choose somewhere with a scary history. Steve Ronan, an American urban explorer, traveled to the United Kingdom to investigate a Victorian-style mansion believed to be the site of a gruesome taking of life. Despite its longevity, the event took place in 2006 when then homeowner Christopher Lumsden ended his wife's life in a jealous rage. She had allegedly just returned from dinner with her lover when the incident occurred. Despite the viciousness of the event, Lumsden only served 5.5 years when he was released on license, the British legal system's equivalent of parole. Intrigued by the story, Ronan decided to investigate at the home in order to see if he could come up with answers. Upon arrival, the front of the house is littered with large trash, including several beds, some broken walls, and what appears to be clothing. At the time the video was filmed, renovations were ongoing to prepare the house to be put up for sale. It is unknown if the trash was from the house itself or was left there randomly, but it would be strange if so many pieces of clothing were left behind. The first bit of the video is Ronan and his team exploring the house, finding it in a state of disrepair. At one point, they find a strange piece of wallpaper on the floor. The same system is seen covering the walls of a room. Written on it are various strange phases, including Carpe Diem Dungeons Fire, Jungle Truth or Dare Power. What this means is a mystery, and it's a strange design to have as a wallpaper. Things quickly take a turn for the creepy when they find a red stain on the floor of one of the rooms in front of a dresser. On closer inspection, it is a sizable red blot stained into the floorboard that was once beneath the now torn up carpet. It definitely is believable that it's what we're all thinking, since the coloration does resemble when such a stain has aged over time. One of the crew decides to shine a UV light on the spot. As he explains, the spot remains visible as a dark purple under the light, instead of blending into the floor. Also, while it is not mentioned, there are spots that weren't visible when the light wasn't on. Going off the find, they decide to begin a spirit box session in the room. The method they use is simple, as they find a radio and rapidly shift through the channels. After a couple of questions and one false alarm, a voice comes through the static saying you were tricked.
You were tricked? Did you just hear you were tricked?
This is strange, as immediately before that, they were discussing whether or not they were deceived into believing another house entirely was the location of the gruesome life-taking. At the beginning of the video, they spoke with a security guard of another residence who claimed the occupied house was the actual location of the incident. However, they were not allowed in and went to this house nearby that is also said to be where the incident happened. Could it be possible they are communicating with something who knows they were tricked? The group hears various answers come through the radio, although admittedly it is hard to hear whether it is actually something answering them or simply words from the radio programs coming through and sounding like answers. Next, the group decides to conduct an EVP session to see if they can hear anything else. During the session, the group hears noises and something like shuffling is picked up on the EVP. At this time, nobody in the room is moving or talking. They also hear something that sounds like chewing or moving their mouth. After asking a question, some sort of faint whisper can be heard right before the next question is asked.
If so, who was the one who murdered you?
Unfortunately, it's too difficult to decipher what, if anything, is being said, as it is too quiet. After nothing else seems to come through, finally the group uses an actual spirit box, which automatically and rapidly changes stations so quickly you can't hear what is being said by the program. Ronan asks if anyone can tell what happened and if there was an event of a life being taken. Soon after, a voice comes through with what sounds like yes, immediately followed by what sounds like someone died. Soon, a male voice comes through with what Ronan thinks sounds like "wasn't me."
So much activity.
The moment that is guaranteed to send chills down your spine is when a woman, either laughing, crying, or possibly screaming, can be heard. The investigation wraps soon after, and Ronan leaves with what could be considered valuable evidence. The event that occurred in the home has left an imprint, and not just the stain on the floor.
Is this a witch mimicking a baby's cry? Shared by Instagram accounts Paranoid Normal and Unanswered Universe. Listen closely.
¡Ahí hay una cosa! ¡Miren allá! ¡No, Diosito Padre Celestial! ¿Lo que es eso? No, esperen, esperen hasta allá.
¿Qué pasó?
¡Ey, no! Vamos a alumbrar qué es, no,
You can hear a baby wailing, and it seems to be coming from this nearby bush. The bush shakes as the group watches tentatively, and then this happens. What is that thing? It doesn't look like any animal I've ever seen. As the group flees the scene, you can hear another bush shaking, and you can hear the babies wail again. Is this a witch or a shapeshifter, luring them in to take their souls? I do think it's some paranormal creature, mimicking a baby's cries, but for what purpose? I'm not so sure.
30-year-old Alexa was returning to her Bronx home in University Heights when she got that feeling in the pit of her stomach. She detailed what happened to her in a Twitter thread in September of 2018, noting that she wrote the thread to warn women in her neighborhood to be aware that this person is out there. Alexa said she was returning home by Uber at 3:50 a.m., heading to the lobby of her building, when she got a strange feeling that she wasn't alone, as she suspected, and the building security footage confirmed she wasn't. A man had followed her through the courtyard outside and quickened his pace to enter the lobby right behind her. Alexa notes in the thread that she didn't see or hear the man watching her. When she was in the lobby, she realized there was a figure hovering outside the front door, waiting in the first entryway. She decided to double check the door locked behind her. She turned to the door to shut and lock it and noticed he had his foot on the corner, ensuring the door didn't close after she entered. She knows that the man likely intended to confront her outside the building, which is why he didn't enter the lobby all the way, or he was waiting for her to head toward her apartment so he could run after her and force his way in. Don't worry, he didn't have a chance. Alexa shut the door, moving his foot out of the way to do so. Unfortunately, the suspect had a scarf wrapped around his face to ensure he wouldn't be identified by security cameras. She notes that drivers should always wait until their passengers reach their front doors safely. In her case, the Uber driver left when she got out of the vehicle. Alexa also remarks that, without the security footage to back her claim, her story would undoubtedly have been questioned and disbelieved. These stories should always be listened to and heard, and above all, as Alexa did, always trust your gut.
YouTuber Don John Averon claims to have captured an unknown humanoid on tape while deep in the woods in 2016. But without more information or evidence, little can be verified in regards to this video's authenticity. But if it's real, then this chilling footage shows Dawn silently creeping up on an ape-like creature that has tiny legs and a hunched over upper body. The humanoid does not seem to notice him as it casually swings its massive arms while walking. It moves like a human, but apparently has giant sloth-like arms with no fingers. It retreats deeper into the forest and Dawn doesn't follow.
This retro arcade room is ruined by faulty wiring, or else a real ghost. To demonstrate, the owner picks up the remote to his ceiling fan and turns the light off.
Let's see. Oh, there it is. Wow.
The lights somehow turn on by themselves despite not touching the remote at all. At 4 seconds, we can see the nearest light switch is all the way across the room from the distinctive shark skateboard that he's now standing by, so he couldn't have hit that himself, and no one else is with him. Then, not only does the fan turn on by itself, but it also kind of goes the wrong way for a little bit first, which I don't think is normal. In a different video, the light looks much brighter than before, yet returns to normal brightness when turned off and back on. This time, he turns the light out and leaves the remote on the wall. He steps out towards the middle of the room, and the light comes back on before he even gets a chance to properly set up his camera. Based on what I've seen here, I think these videos are real, because nothing stood out as blatantly fake. If this house is haunted, let's just hope it's not a malevolent spirit. After all, you wouldn't want to give up an arcade setup that nice. This car is making its way down the BKE Expressway in Singapore when it manages to catch the split-second image of what could be a paranormal hitchhiker searching for its next ride. The ghostly presence looks too tall to be a normal human being, and its limbs look too long as well. Though I guess this stretched appearance could be an optical illusion from being captured at a high rate of speed. Some people even say it looks like they are floating. I want to hear your opinion, so let me know if you agree. A video of a human torso walking upright is probably one of the scariest home CCTV moments I've ever seen caught on tape. The main reason it looks so terrifying is because this is mostly a marionette puppet instead of CGI, which requires more work but looks more realistic. Somebody is most likely pulling its strings from above to make it walk, or at least I hope so. A YouTuber named Benny Loco is on a desert urban exploration in a bunch of abandoned houses that are empty, or so she thinks. She steps inside and looks to the right, no one. But standing on an opposite side of the room, under some drapes, is a silhouette that she thinks is some kind of animal figure because of these supposed ears.
Boudoir. With a bunny in the window. Creepy bunny.
But all I see is a hooded figure staring at her through a thin piece of fabric. This is one of the only times I've seen somebody laugh off a ghost sighting and not check to see what it was. All of the windows are blocked, so I guess she could be looking at a piece of cardboard or something, but since something just moved in that room and then disappeared, I have to go with paranormal activity on this one. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado is thought to be very haunted and was the inspiration for Stephen King's The Shining. A YouTuber named Ricky Rock requests the most haunted room, 418, and records himself sleeping. Sounds of movement originate from within the room. Then at around 3 a.m., he claims a spirit entered his body. This is the exact moment it happened. He sits up and stares directly at the camera with a blank expression. I guess he could still be half asleep, but many believe that he is under the control of a spirit. And that's when some presence apparently made him speak in tongues. Watch this part and tell me if it sounds like something paranormal or someone having a bad dream.
Dude, I don't know.
The comments section of this video seems to be evenly split between fake and real, so let me know what you think based on what I was able to show. Anatoly Slivka was actively taking lives in the Soviet Union between 64 and 85. During these 2 decades, he fantasized about and recreated an event that he'd witnessed when he was in his early 20s. He'd seen someone drive into a group of pedestrians and take one of their lives, a teenage boy wearing a young pioneer's uniform. Thereafter, he sought out boys to recreate the scene. This was easy, being as he ran a children's club. After befriending a boy who was always on the shorter side, he would convince him to wear the young pioneer's uniform and be part of a controlled hanging experiment that he said would stretch their spines. He claimed he would revive them, but that was not the case. He took 7 lives this way, although he had done this to far more people, 43 in all. 36 actually were revived. All were filmed and photographed throughout the disturbing so-called experiments, and the footage was developed in Slivka's home laboratory. Slivka was arrested for his actions in 1989, and shortly after had his own life taken as punishment. Good riddance to a horrible person. Some creepy moments were caught on street cam in a neighborhood believed to be in India. A man on a motorcycle suddenly pulls over and stares at something. Another person looks over their shoulder and gives pause at something unseen as well. At 1 minute and 14 seconds, the man on the motorcycle nods at whatever's approaching, as if asking the man what it is. The second man does not acknowledge what he's seen and keeps walking. Moments later, a small child walks directly up to the motorcycle, and one look at his face sends the man reeling. The rumor is that this child was actually a jinn. I don't know what he said or heard, but it's enough to make him flee without his bike. Maybe he thought he was about to get ambushed and decided to give his bike up first. Or maybe, just maybe, this was a real demon sighting caught on camera after all. If so, then I doubt he ever wants to think about what he saw that night again, let alone tell us. This Colombian video from 2008 is apparently the last footage taken by 4 men that disappeared, found inside an abandoned car. The footage shows the men driving towards a strange person dressed in all white, possibly a wedding dress.
Arranca. No, despacio, hágale despacio. Esa mierda, huevón, hágale despacio.
They slowly approach the person and attempt to drive around them, and that's where the video ends. What happens next is a complete mystery, since this was the only footage found. Skeptics have been unable to debunk this video or find the whereabouts of the disappeared men that were mentioned. It appears whoever was standing on the road that night will remain a mystery. A TikToker named Erica R 1971 captures this full moon footage of a potential ghost sighting shortly after her father passes away. Knowing if this was a motion activated camera or not would have been a big help determining if this was a real sighting or just a glitch. If the camera really does turn on by itself like I think it does, coupled with the recent passing of her father, then I'd say this is almost definitely real. A ghost hunting group called No Fear Paranormal lives up to their name while exploring a haunted cemetery with a K2 meter, a spirit box, and some recording equipment. The name of the haunted place they're exploring is the Tonopah Cemetery in Nevada. They ask it a question, but apparently whatever is nearby has only one topic on its mind.
Can you tell us how many of us are out here? How many people are in the cemetery?
A scary voice of a man comes through their paranormal equipment and calmly responds with 2 words, a demon. I'm not sure if this is a real ghost EVP or not, but the way it immediately tells them that a demon is nearby is frightening to say the least, and possibly more than a creepy coincidence. This YouTuber didn't notice what he'd captured on camera until he played it back later, and when he saw it, he was scared. Published by Sphinx 2720 in March of 2010, the scary video was taken at Gettysburg. The investigator is standing amongst some boulders at the beginning of the clip. He says the cluster of rocks is called Devil's Den. As he walks around the den, he appears to capture the devil himself. What looks like a large cloaked shadow figure is looming right in front of the den. Another oddity occurs at the beginning of the video and was noted by Akeo Ateo in the comments. As the investigator is getting his bearings with his camera, a dark figure in the distance beyond the nearby rock is spotted lurking past. What is going on here at Gettysburg? Do these figures have anything to do with the area's history? If a disembodied voice tells you to leave, you should probably listen. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Mads Entertain, the redditor was given a warning that might be worth heeding. As he and a friend enter an abandoned house, about 1 minute into the clip, a creepy old lady voice orders them to leave. They don't leave. Instead, they search the barren house up to the 2nd floor. After exploring, the redditor is doing his outro when something bangs overhead.
If you're new to our channel, again, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for new content every Sunday.
It sounds like it's coming from upstairs. They hurry out of the house, and the redditor explains that they had to cut because after hearing that bang, they heard scraping against the walls and the sound of a door opening. Well, the voice had warned them. What did they expect? Garbage has eyes. Posted to the Paranormal Evidence subreddit. See Holly Molly writes, first noticed the eyes about 2 years ago, the ones next to the hose reel. She says this is a black plastic bag with sand in it, with no tape or reflective stickers attached. The security footage shows the garbage bag and its eyes. At some points throughout the clip, it even looks as though the eyes are blinking. The redditor says the eyes appeared nearly a week after the bag was placed there. Some redditors in the comments say it's pareidolia, while others think it's a residual artifact from the camera. Are we seeing a face that is not there? Or is this a real-life Oscar the Grouch? 3 friends are driving down some back roads late at night when they've caught something on video that has people questioning what was on the side of the road.
What?
No, you don't see that.
Oh my god, what is that?
It's a dog, isn't it?
Can you hear that growling?
The creature looks at them as they question whether or not it's been hit and needs their help. While it goes deeper into the forest, they feel like they should get out of the car and check to see if it's all right.
God, I'm really scared. Tom! Where is it? Is it in the bush?
A deep growling sound coming from the woods keeps them from exploring any closer. They are pretty sure this isn't someone's dog, like they thought, but they aren't sure what to do next. That's when the decision is made for them. Run.
Is it? It sounds really close. Right, get in the car now, Tom.
The comments and likes for this video were split 50-50 between believers and skeptics. I might have thought this was real if I watched it just one time, but upon closer analysis, it's pretty obvious this was somebody in a creature costume on their hands and knees.
When you look at their feet at 22 seconds, there are no claws, and you can tell this is a costume that you step into, or at least that's what I think. Tell me what you make of this bizarre encounter caught on a full moon that night.
Exploring with Darknet is a YouTube channel dedicated to recording abandoned locations in all of their various forms. This time the group finds themselves inside of a large building that looks to have once been a manufacturing plant of some sort. While checking out various pieces of rusted machinery, they can't shake the feeling that they are being watched. Distant phantom lights follow them and snuff out randomly. On the second floor, they come across a room that appears to be strewn with heaps of garbage and adult diapers. At one point, they come across another room containing more trash and a woman's right shoe. The left one is nowhere to be found, so perhaps there was a struggle here. If you can translate the writing on this wall, please let me know what it says and also what language it is in. It might give us some clues as to exactly what happened here, and maybe even make some sense out of what happens next. They then come across a final room on the second floor with a dirty curtain draped across the doorway. They take a peek underneath and are greeted with a final scare. Listen closely again and you can hear someone screaming behind them as they pursue. Their wails echoing off thin corridor walls. UBA is a rapper from Mexico with a fairly popular YouTube channel. Recently, he admitted to the police that he has been working for the New Generation Cartel, which is basically the Mexican mafia. He has taken at least 3 people's lives and even dissolved them in vats of acid. Now police are working hard analyzing his music videos to determine if he has ever confessed to anything else in one of his songs. After all, anyone in the video could be an accomplice, and every lyric or camera shot could be another potential piece of evidence. I watched a lot of his videos for more clues, and the only thing I noticed was how one setting in particular would repeatedly come up. It's always this small wooded area that's by some train tracks. It could just be my imagination, but I can't help but wonder if maybe a 4th body would be found here if police were able to do some investigating in this area.
While exploring this haunted asylum, the shifting energy is unsettling. Listen closely and you might catch all the oddities and EVPs in this haunted place. As the crew first enters the dark hallway, a strange sound is recorded. And another as they enter a larger room.
Barulho de chuva.
They get a spooky feeling by this door, and they capture an energy here. The EMF meter keeps going off in the same area. What is in this room? Whatever it is, I think it doesn't want to fully reveal itself. This pair of videos will send you running. Posted to TikTok by Jen Barari, something is stalking around outside Jen's home in this first clip.
Holy sh**. Did you guys hear that? That was crazy.
What made these noises?
Yo, I swear to that wasn't me.
The first whisper sounds like help to me.
That was crazy.
But I'm not sure what the other noises are. Jen's second video is even freakier. Upon returning home in the night, she sees this. But a security camera captures something else. Many in the comments are freaked out that this spirit is mimicking her. It looks very much like Jen, same length of hair and everything. It even kind of sounds like her in the first video. So is this spirit preparing itself to become her? I for one think so. Both clips are super suspect. A ghost hunter doesn't even get his equipment fully set up before he detects a paranormal presence on camera. Look how quickly this shadow moves by. The shadow moves way too fast and also turns in the opposite direction as he does, meaning it can't belong to him. Here's the shadow from a second angle, this time taken from the handheld camera. Clearly, this shadow is caused by something off camera, but whether it's human or not is up for you to decide. Urban exploration videos and abandoned places are perfect settings for ghost investigators to explore, but sometimes they find more paranormal activity than they are ready for, and that's when their paranormal investigation becomes mysterious, unexplained, and most of all, really creepy. This YouTuber is exploring an abandoned building when they hear some potentially paranormal poltergeist activity coming from upstairs.
These are all the stacked bathrooms. Here's a bathroom. Alright, Kobe, I'm throwing this in the toilet.
As they slowly climb the steps, the first thing they notice is how much darker it is up here. The last thing they notice is the poltergeist that comes straight at them and then disappears.
We should definitely go one at a time.
Absolutely nothing is there at 1 minute and 24 seconds, and then you see its head, and then something out of my nightmares is dragging itself across the floor. This eerie video has me doing a double take, published by Spot You Like in April of 2008. This scary clip is filmed outside the stunning New York Minster. The bells are ringing and the cameraman is taking it all in. He scans the cathedral and then starts walking toward it. A shot later, he is continuing on his way down a narrow shop lane. While the bells continue to sound, shops line either side of the street. But watch what happens in the upper window to the left. The cameraman zooms in on the ghostly pale face of a small child looking out the window. The child's eyes are dark and inky, and its face mask-like. As the camera zooms, the child disappears. The uploader notes that the house is called the Belfry and was built in the 17th century. Some in the comments claim to have stayed there and say that it has seriously spooky vibes. Is this the thing putting out those vibes? I'd say it's a pretty good chance. If you have a chance to visit a former institute, don't. Published by Steve Ronan in October of 2021, this pair of scary videos will send you running for the hills. In the first video, Ronan talks about how Lechtworth is where unethical testing was done on patients. When journalists exposed this, the place was shut down. As he's putting on some gear later, he hears someone near. He thinks it's Mo.
Mo?
Another sound is heard and it doesn't seem to be the crew.
Okay, someone else has to come with me because I legit heard something. What the You okay?
Okay, that wasn't me.
They think it came from an adjacent room. The paranormal activity ramps up when one of the crew thinks he saw a person. They are later walking down a hallway when a door either opens or closes behind them.
Like someone or something walking outside.
They catch the sound on two separate cameras.
Walking outside.
As they continue moving through Lechtworth, a sound like a rock being thrown occurs to their left.
What's this door? What the f?
They then attempt to open the doors ahead and something shuts the door on one of them.
Nothing in here.
What was that?
What?
There's something that shut the door on me. It literally just shut the.
There's someone behind the door.
There's someone actually behind the door.
They pry the door open again to see if there's someone inside, but it's an empty room. As they're wondering if someone fled through the window, their answer arrives in the form of the door slamming shut.
What the f? Yo. It's hard.
It won't open and they call out for Mo to push from the other side. Mo manages to kick the door open and they're all relieved to be out of that room. They then talk to the spirits, asking them to come in contact again, and the spirits answer in kind.
If that was your way of making contact with us, can you do it again?
Yo!
They race down the hallway, fleeing for their lives, but before they do, they look in this room one more time. Finding it empty again, something starts banging loudly and repeatedly in the dark hallway.
Go through the window, the bushes were rumbling too.
Still nothing to be seen. As they're heading to the stairs toward the creepy basement, a creaky door is heard opening and closing.
It's gonna take us to the basement.
Yo.
What was that?
In the team's second video, they explore the basement, which they soon discover is just as creepy as the floor above. They attempt to speak with the demons using a phone EVP. As they're communicating, another bang is heard behind them.
Are you angry right now?
When they start challenging the demons to slam a door shut, things get a little crazy, claiming he saw the door shake a little.
Like 2 minutes. Okay. Oh, guys. It just moved.
Mo soon starts to get woozy.
Oh, I'm feeling weird. Oh.
Mo?
I'm feeling lightheaded.
Dude, your face got all pale.
Pale-faced, Mo says he feels dizzy and lightheaded and so sits down for a moment. They're heading down the stairs when Mo gets dizzy again and falls to the ground. Later, he is not being himself and becomes aggressive with the rest of the crew.
Where is he?
I don't know, man. Just be careful. He's not himself.
Has Mo become possessed? Guess that's what happens when you start challenging demons. Let There Be Light, posted to the Ghost Video subreddit by Zombie Foxes, the Redditor explains, the security guard quit after seeing the CCTV of an orb walking through a car park and turning on lights in the storage room. The lights can only be turned on with a sensor when you walk 4 to 5 steps in the bike store, which also requires a fob to access it. The video shows the car park in question. For a while, there's nothing to see here, but then the tiny white speck or orb floats slowly across the scene from the bottom right of the screen to the door. Just as it arrives there, the light beyond flicks on. Coincidence? Or is there just something here that we cannot see? If it's true that the lights are only triggered when a person enters, then who or what's inside? No wonder the security guard didn't want to stick around. A man named John Crawford casually walks around a Walmart in Beaver Creek, Ohio, well armed. Here you can see him standing in an aisle on the right side of the screen.
Gun in the store.
Is he got it pulled out?
Yeah, he's like pointing at people.
What does he look like?
The 911 caller grows more nervous with each passing moment and tells the operator that the situation is growing dire.
I don't know what he's just like looking around, waving it. He looks like he's just trying to load it.
He's just trying to load it?
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Soon a family of 3 walks down the same aisle as John Crawford and starts checking out some animals for sale. This is where the 911 call gets kind of strange.
My name is Ronald Ritchie. He just pointed at like 2 children.
Okay.
Watch the video again and you'll see that John never really aims at the kids. In fact, the family barely reacts to his presence, and I'm not sure if they even notice him at all. One of them hangs around a bit longer before leaving, so I wouldn't say they were exactly in distress, but the way the 911 caller describes the man and his actions understandably has the police on edge. An officer arrives on the scene expecting trouble, and a brief altercation ensues.
The surprise suspect is laid to rest on the spot after police thought he was going to attack. As it turns out, John Crawford was simply buying an airsoft at Walmart on that day. The person who called 911 did not get in any trouble, but many now agree he was overreacting. Let me know if you would have called the police based on what you've seen on this CCTV video. This video shows a concerned sister checking in on her sleeping sibling. I'm not sure why she would be holding a camera to do so, but I guess she wanted to record the moment. A girl she has never seen before is hovering over her sister's bed without saying a word, and when she turns to leave to get help, the ghostly child teleports in the doorway to block her.
Lee, you alright? Oh my god!
The girl standing in the door does look like the same girl who is just standing by the bed. They are wearing the same outfit and have the exact same hair length and color, so I guess it's possible that this was a spirit. Then again, if this was staged, then maybe there was a second girl who was standing in the doorway the whole time to make it look like they teleported. A YouTuber named Lord Cryptid looks up to see a gorilla-sized creature staring at him from a short distance away. The head and shoulders are clearly defined, but it's not moving at all, so Lord Cryptid decides to get a closer look. It continues to silently regard him as he closes in. Now only a thin patch of thickets and reeds separates him from the threat before him, and when he zooms in, you're not going to believe what he sees. He is only meters away and it still looks like a humanoid, not a bear. But when the camera focuses, what was originally an astoundingly scary creature is actually little more than a tree stump. I'm including this video because I feel like it could explain many of the other similar cryptid sightings in the woods. So in the future, unless the creature actually moves, it's probably just a stump. This dashcam footage was taken from the Garland City Police Department. A police officer is chasing a car at high speeds when things suddenly go off-road. The car has turned into a dead end and is coming up on a chain link fence. It looks like the chase is over, but then this happens.
A fence at the end means no way out, or does it?
The car appears to have escaped through a solid chain link fence with no gate or any other type of opening to pass through. Every officer who has reviewed this footage has been completely baffled, and no explanation has ever been given. You can tell by the angle of the car's brake lights that it was driving straight the whole time and did not swerve around the fence. Somehow there's no signs of damage to the fence. It looks completely untouched. When a poltergeist displays his candor over a period of several days, you gotta see it for what it is, a permanent unwanted house guest. Published to YouTube in October of 2019, this video shows a series of poltergeist activities occurring in this couple's kitchen. On day 4, the salt and pepper shakers sitting on the kitchen countertop start to move slightly, then the salt falls over altogether. On day 8, the couple is in the kitchen. The woman is cooking something and sets the hand blender on the counter. It's turned off. She goes to the fridge to retrieve an egg and this happens. She drops the egg in fright while the man calmly turns off the blender. On day 24, the man enters his kitchen to get a glass of water. His back turned to the stove. One of the burners suddenly turns on of its own accord. A pan on the stove slowly slides over to the lit burner, again all on its own. The man just stands there drinking his water, watching this happen. He takes 2 eggs from the fridge and sets them on the counter, inviting the poltergeist to cook. Maybe this is the best way to go about living with a poltergeist. Just accept that you have a third, somewhat mischievous roommate. A boy thinks he's caught a real ghost sighting. He's checking himself out on camera when suddenly a ghost face in the window moves towards him before disappearing back into the night. There's a lot of pixelation around the boy's head, which at first I thought was due to a cheap camera, but then I realized this is probably a green screen.
If you look closely, the ghostly figure in the window is wearing a red shirt that's similar to what he's wearing, so it's probably the same person. I think he recorded himself in the window and then superimposed it over this second video to make it seem like a genuine reaction to a real ghost sighting. It's pretty clever and almost fooled me until I took a second look. A YouTuber named Nathan Laird posted this video as a warning to others to stay away from a woman whose behavior really freaked him out. He's riding around his neighborhood in Vacaville, California, when he says a woman throws garbage on the ground. This bothers him, so he picks up the trash and follows her to redeliver it, along with a valuable message about littering.
Excuse me? I think he dropped this.
Here, give it.
I have that on film.
Watch again, and it appears that she tries to rip his camera off, and after that fails, she smacks at it out of anger. She's eating an orange and probably dropped part of the peel on the ground, which you could argue isn't as severe as littering other things. But still, this is just a little kid who is trying to do what he thought was right, so there's no reason to react like this. She could have apologized or politely told him it's biodegradable, but instead she physically touches him, which does not seem appropriate since she's supposed to be the adult here. This video, titled "The Cave of Screaming Terror," sounds a bit dramatic until you get about midway through. Donnell Buckley is exploring the sea cave along the coast of Ireland by himself when suddenly the water becomes higher and Donnell hears this strange sound behind him. A series of shrill, high-pitched screams coming from somewhere deep within the cave makes Donald decide to leave the vicinity. He never gives proper explanation, and I think it definitely creeped him out. If you can identify what kind of creature this is, then please do so. It almost sounds like some kind of exotic bird, but it also somewhat resembles some of the more convincing rake videos that I've seen before. Unidentified flying devices do exist, posted to the Very Spooky Videos subreddit by Yuli Bon. This strange ghostly robot figure was captured on film in Peru. The figure is blue and glowing. It illuminates the night but dims slightly as cars pass on the highway beyond, and as it appears to drift further into the distance, Redditor Planet Niles suggests that it's a costume, writing, "When the brightly lit trucks pass behind it, the camera can't pick it up against those, so instead it casts a shadow, which means it's a solid object and not a phantom." Others remark that 3 AM is witching hour, so who knows, it could be anything. What do you think it is? The CCTV was taken at an office building at around 2:30 in the morning. It was noticed immediately by security because the camera only turns on when something moves. A shadowy mass starts at floor level, stops for a second, and then quickly scales up the wall, possibly continuing on to move through the ceiling itself, all while leaving no visible form of entry or making a sound. I don't know what object would have made this strange oval shadow take shape, and neither do the security guards. I think there's a strong chance that this is paranormal, but if not, leave me your best guess as to what this possibly could have been. Tyler Rowe works in a grocery store with a freezer that he and all of his co-workers are sure is haunted. First, it starts with these strange noises, almost like someone is trying to kick their way out. The kicking noises grow more intense until finally, at 9:02 AM, this always happens without fail. This time Tyler is determined to get to the bottom of it. He bravely marches in and documents that absolutely nobody is inside the freezer. Watch this part and let me know if you can see anyone, because I didn't.
Is there a light in here? And there's nothing in here. There's nothing, nobody, anything. It's just open.
I can't help but suspect that a past employee somehow got locked in the freezer one morning and did not make it. Now they are trapped in spirit, kicking the door much like they did in their final hours on Earth. If someone can give me a mechanical explanation of why the door would burst open by itself at 9 in the morning every day, I would believe otherwise. Leo Streetsky claims to have been possessed by a demonic force during the making of these 2 videos. The majority of the first 20-minute video is simply him glaring at a camera with a demented, menacing expression while pacing from room to room. Often, he films out the window at nothing in particular, almost as if he is frantically searching for someone to give him further instructions. The few times he does speak, his voice is harsh and strained. During this part, I think he says something like "exit here now," followed by a maniacal laugh.
Exit here now.
Again, he returns to the window to look for something only he can see. It's hard to say if Leo is faking these videos or really thinks he is possessed. Both of these videos only have a handful of views and are very long, so I don't think he is doing this for attention. You're never alone on an amusement park ride. This phantom will make sure of it. Published to YouTube by Eli Zix in September 2015, the following footage will have you looking twice. The clip shows 3 women and a man riding the pirate ship at an amusement park, swinging back and forth. At the beginning of the clip, there are clearly 3 women there, but as the video ends, the 3rd woman on the end has completely vanished. Where did she go? Did she fall off the ride? Disappear somehow? Or was she ever really there at all? Some in the comments claim that this girl passed away on this ride 2 years prior to when this video was filmed. This is all hearsay, but who knows? The truth has to be out there somewhere. A Ring camera caught yet another attempted intruder in the act. Actually, this time too. Published to YouTube in a Ring cam video by Full Moon Crazies in July of 2019. The surveillance camera was placed behind a lamp and captures a pair of thieves going into a home during the Christmas season. The thieves are partially hiding their faces with their hoodies, and they seem to spy the Ring camera right away as they look directly at it. After gathering some backpacks, likely filled with the taken goods, one of the intruders can be seen knocking the camera down to avoid its capturing further incriminating footage, but he didn't totally succeed. 2 more intruders are caught on camera entering the room from the hallway. The clip ends without further explanation. These intruders more than likely made off like bandits, but we can only hope this video evidence was enough to catch them. Either way, this cost them Christmas, as they were sure to end up on Santa's naughty list. A YouTuber named Blake M thinks he accidentally recorded a strange message while filming himself on the side of the road. Listen carefully and see if you can hear it for yourself. The message is very brief, so if you didn't hear it, then turn up your volume and listen to this version with subtitles. Right around when Blake smooths over his hair, you can hear a distant voice suddenly say, "Help me," in an urgent tone. It's possible that he edited in this voice later, or maybe it was someone yelling from a passing car, but if not, then this could be evidence of someone asking for help from the afterlife. These tourists left with a souvenir they didn't want. Published by Mystic House / Horror Stories. This scary video was reportedly captured at a popular tourist attraction in Indonesia. Amongst the brambles on a jungle path, a creepy creature is spotted peering out from behind a stone. The humanoid-looking creature's head is adorned with strange ram-like horns. Its skin is a dull gray, its eyes heavily shadowed. Is this just a local having fun with the tourists? Or is this evidence of an unknown species lurking in the wilderness? Alex Miner pops off the top of his dark web mystery box and receives a handwritten warning. To paraphrase, it says that life is a dirty mystery and you never know what you are touching. As for the weird drawing beneath it, your guess is as good as mine. Alex finds an old compact disc and quietly sets it aside. Then he finds this weird leaky bag full of white powder. If you have any idea what this is, let me know. The next object almost certainly confirms my suspicions. Covered in the mysterious white powder is this weird tool marked biohazard.
Biohazard. Can anybody tell me what this is?
Later, when Alex plays the CD, this is what he hears. Listen to this and tell me if you can hear a voice say something like, "I see you." And leave me a best guess as to what this all means. This YouTube channel is dedicated to finding a local legend known only as the Clover Forest creature. Two friends are investigating an area of the woods where the last sighting was reported when they detect what appears to be a pair of eyes staring at them from across a creek.
Whoa, get down. Oh my god, that's it. I think so.
At first I thought this could just be one of their friends wearing a mask with glowing red eyes, but watch this next part and tell me what you think. The eyes briefly go away and then reappear, which makes me think that this creature is blinking.
Yo, keep your light on it, keep your light on it.
Soon the Clover Forest creature walks away and is not seen again. It's too bad that they didn't have a high beam flashlight to shine across the creek and solve the mystery once and for all. Still, tell me whether you think this video is scripted or real based on the 11 seconds of video I was able to show. These friends are talking in the kitchen when someone else pulls up a chair to join them. The only problem is, no one's there. When one of them finally notices that the chair is a full 2 or 3 feet away from the table, he's so startled that he doesn't even close the refrigerator. He just wants to get away fast, which is a realistic reaction for sure.
That chair move.
Of course, no one else in the group believes his bizarre story at first, but when they see it for themselves, their scared reaction are as legit as can be. I'll add that the fear and surprise on his face is readily apparent here too.
Chair move. You got say?
All of them are trying to come up with a rational explanation, and the best answer they have is that the man in a white shirt is somehow causing it to happen. It's true that the chair only seems to move when he is either approaching it or standing nearby. Just when they are beginning to calm down, a final event seems to confirm their suspicions.
Something's wrong with you, bro. Something's wrong with you.
Let me know what you think is happening here, and if you think this is a prank or the early stages of a spiritual possession. This unnerving doorbell cam footage was taken somewhere in New Mexico. A random person walks up to a house in the middle of the night and just basically goes crazy without warning. They appear to have lost all sense of reason as they first yank on the doorbell cam and then start to scale the wall. It's unclear if they are really trying to gain access to the house itself or if they are just out of their minds and doing whatever spontaneously comes next. After a while, they come back into view and kind of wobble around. This next part sounds like they might have even fallen over, but I'm not exactly sure. Overall, the strange man seems more confused than necessarily looking to cause havoc, but I would still not want to encounter this potential maniac either way. A ghost has no use for a haircut, but apparently that doesn't stop one from haunting a famous barbershop called GQ Cuts in La Puente, California. Caught on security cam is a ghostly guest slipping under a blue gown.
That just moved. Like that just moved. Like that just moved. I'm not gonna break that right there just moved.
Everyone, even the woman getting her hair cut, is nervously looking at the chair, waiting for it to move again, which it doesn't. But hold on, nobody sees the scariest moment of all on the shelf above them.
That just moved. Like that just moved. Like that just moved. I'm not gonna break that.
A creepy mannequin head turns towards him while he tries to tell everyone what he saw. Thankfully, the moving objects were caught on tape to prove him right. Then again, it could be this fan on full speed that's blowing objects around. A TikToker named Prince of Stitches is about to go to sleep when this late night visitor takes over his spot. Moments before he lies down, the floating white smear somewhat resembles the arm and shoulder of someone sleeping on their side, perhaps someone who once passed away in this very same spot. Or it could just be how the light from this mounted lamp is hitting the camera. There's a somewhat similar looking effect happening next to the lamp, shown here. Light artifacts aside, that still doesn't explain how the covers pulsate likely like the shallow breathing of someone deep asleep. Either he put something under the sheets to make them do that, exactly what I don't know, or it's time to check out and find a non-haunted hotel that won't make you room with a ghost. A truck driver checks his mirror just in time to see a dusty road hazard swirling his way. Try and translate this part because I would love to hear his initial reaction word for word. The mini tornado dances all around and blocks the only exit. Getting out and running is probably not a good option because it could randomly change direction and come barreling his way. Now all he can do is stay inside and hope it doesn't move forward another 10 feet and rip off his door, which it looks strong enough to do. If you doubt its power, this bent streetlight says otherwise. After less than a minute, the tornado of dust dissipates moments before, raging through somebody's front door. We like to think that we'd somehow remain in control of any emergency, but all of this was random. His survival was based far more on chances than choices. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.